Hello, welcome, I'm Andreas, your tech-curious web designer. In this tutorial, we will create a Dockerfile to streamline the deployment of our code, so we don't have to manually run commands like minify or collectstatic before deploying. A Dockerfile ensures that the application runs with the same specification across different environments and makes it easy for others to install and run the project using Docker. But before we get started, if you like this content, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon. This helps me to grow this channel and to reach more aspiring web developers. And if you want to support my work financially, you can subscribe to my Patreon page and get access to exclusive content. Thank you so much, I really appreciate you. Okay, and now without further ado, let's dive in. A big thank you to all my supporters on Patreon, buymeacoffee.com and on YouTube. And a special shout out to my newest supporter Steven. Thank you so much for your support. A Dockerfile contains all the instructions needed to build and run an application inside a Docker container, so it can include all the steps that we would otherwise have to do manually. From this Dockerfile, platforms such as Railway build a Docker image, which is like a ready-made template for the app. Then a Docker container automatically runs an instance of this image and then deploys it. So with a Dockerfile, we can streamline the workflow for our app, making continuous integration and deployment much easier. We create this Dockerfile in the root of our project, and the name is just Dockerfile. And here we add the instructions to build this app. The first line defines the programming language and version. Here we're using Python 3.13 and building on a slim version from the Docker image library. Next we include two environment variables, which tell Python not to create cache files and to output immediately in the container. Without these configurations, Python would create cache files and may buffer outputs, so log messages might not be displayed right away, which makes debugging much harder. Next we define the working directory where all our files will live, and a standard name for this directory is app. In the next block we run commands to install system-level packages. apt is the package manager for Linux, similar to how pip installs Python packages. Here we install essential building tools that Python needs, as well as Node.js and NPM. The last line removes unnecessary cache files to keep the image small. Next we copy the requirements.txt file from the source of the project to the app folder inside this container, and this is represented by this dot here. Then we run the pip install upgrade pip command to get the latest version of pip, and also install the dependencies from the requirements.txt file. Next we set up the node environment so tools like Tailwind CSS are ready to use. Here we copy the two JSON files into the working directory, but for copying multiple files or a folder, the convention is to add a slash after the dot. And then we run the npm CI command. Here CI stands for continuous integration and installs the exact node dependencies defined in the package-log.json file. Then we copy all the files we have here in the root to the working directory. And finally we run our custom commands. Here first I create a minified version of the CSS file and then collect all the static files ready for production. Then with expose we open a port to allow network connections on port 8000. And finally we define here the custom start command to run the application. And this is the same command we added on Railway. To automatically also migrate to the database whenever we deploy the application, we can include the migrate command just before starting the server. Okay, now let's save this file. Similar to GitHub, we also want to ignore here some files we don't want to be copied into the container. And for this we create a .dockerignore file, again in the root of the project. Here we can add the same files and folders as in the gitignore file, but when we use the Dockerfile just to deploy on the web server, we don't strictly need those, because they're already ignored when pushing the code to GitHub. However, I extend this list with the git folder and the gitignore file. To make sure there are no errors when building this Docker image on the web server, all the configurations that use environment variables have to have default values, because when building the image, we typically don't have access to environment variables. Okay, now let's test it out. First we push this code to GitHub. I add here summary, commit those two files, and push to GitHub. Then Railway detects the changes and also the Dockerfile. The Docker image is built and then deployed. We can also view the logs and see how Railway is building this application. However, when looking into the deploy logs, we can see there is an error with the start command. And if we open up the application, we can see that the application failed to respond, because we have two start command instructions right now, and they create a conflict. So because we defined the start command already in the Dockerfile, we have to remove it in the settings on the Railway, and let Docker handle it. And deploy this change. Let's check it out. And now the application is up and running, but this time deployed from a Docker image. Nice. And in the settings, we can see it was built using the Dockerfile. Now let's try out this workflow by adding a new Tailwind CSS class to the code. So I'm adding a background color to the homepage. And add here Tailwind class I have not yet used in this project. For example, the background color with Slate 200. I'm also not running the Tailwind CSS command, so this change will not be visible on the local website. So I start up the server. And as we can see here, the background color locally is still white. Now let's push this change to GitHub. And wait for Railway to build again a Docker image and deploy it. Okay, the deployment is ready. Let's check it out. I refresh the live website. And as we can see, we have a light grayish blue background here now on the homepage.
Nice.
So the deployment workflow is successfully set up. Alright, and this is all for this video. In the next and final video, we will add social logins to this application, so users can log in using their Facebook or Google accounts. If you like this content, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon not to miss the next one. I hope to see you there. Until then, happy coding my friends, and bye bye for now.